The chandeliers of the grand ballroom shimmered like tiny suns, casting golden halos across a sea of laughter, music, and clinking champagne glasses. Men in sharp-tailored suits and women draped in flowing silk gowns filled the air with elegance, arrogance, and whispers of wealth. But at the edge of that glittering room stood Elena, a young maid with a silver tray trembling in her hands. She wore a crisp blue uniform and a spotless white apron, her dark hair pinned neatly back. Her presence was almost invisible, yet she carried herself with a quiet dignity that no one seemed to notice that it was here, in this very ballroom, that her life would change forever, though not in the way anyone could have imagined. The night began. Like countless others, serving wine, carrying hors d'oeuvres, bowing politely, offering faint smiles. But wealth has a way of disguising cruelty as entertainment. And on this night, one man, a wealthy, arrogant millionaire with a taste for mocking those beneath him, decided Elena would be his amusement. Holding a folded note, surrounded by his laughing companions, he silenced the music with his booming voice. "This maid here," he sneered, pointing at Elena. "She doesn't belong in this ballroom. But tell you what, sweetheart. If you can dance the tango right here, right now, I'll marry you on the spot." Laughter erupted like thunder. The cruel joke cracked through Elena's chest like a whip. Her cheeks burned, her heart pounded, and for a moment she wished the floor would swallow her whole. But what no one in that room knew, what Elena had buried deep inside, was that before tragedy stripped her life bare, she had been someone else. Once, she was celebrated in small theaters across the city as one of the most graceful tango dancers to ever touch the floor. But when her father fell ill, when debt crushed her family, when survival demanded sacrifice, she traded satin shoes for scrubbing brushes, applause for silence, and bright stages for dim servant quarters. That cruel challenge, however, awakened something long forgotten within her. Elena froze, her hands trembling. She wanted to run, to disappear. But another voice inside whispered, "You have nothing left to lose." Slowly, she set her tray on the nearest table. Her eyes lowered, not in shame, but in focus. Memories surged back, every rhythm, every step, every heartbeat of the tango. The pianist, sensing the sudden silence, pressed his fingers to the keys. A haunting tango melody rippled through the hall. Gasps replaced laughter. The crowd expected clumsiness. They expected humiliation. But when Elena stepped forward, shoulders tall, eyes lifted, the air shifted, her feet slid, tapped, spun with a precision that silenced the room. Her arms moved like flowing water, her head turned with poise and fire. She was no longer the maid with a tray. She was a dancer reclaiming her soul. The millionaire's smirk faltered. His glass nearly slipped from his hand. Disbelief replaced arrogance as Elena transformed the ballroom into her stage. Every movement told a story of sacrifice, of broken dreams, of silent wounds endured. Each step was not just rhythm, but raw soul. Tears welled in her eyes, yet her grace never faltered. And when the final note struck, her body frozen in a perfect pose, the silence was deafening. No one dared to breathe. Then applause erupted like a storm, but Elena didn't smile. She bowed slightly, her heart aching not for their approval, but for the memory of who she used to be. The millionaire, red-faced and exposed, stepped forward, but his arrogance was shattered. He had tried to ridicule her, only to stand humbled. Before all, Elena, however, didn't stay to savor the moment. She quietly picked up her tray and walked away. She wasn't there for admiration. Life had forced her to serve, but in that moment, everyone in the hall realized the maid they had ignored possessed more grace and strength than all their wealth combined. The millionaire tried to laugh it off, to pretend it was a joke, but whispers followed him. Whispers not of his power, but of the maid who silenced a room with her courage. In the days that followed, something unexpected happened. People who had once overlooked Elena began treating her differently. Some asked her name, Others offered quiet respect. One woman left her an envelope with tickets to a small dance studio. A man whispered about a friend searching for instructors. It wasn't wealth. It wasn't rescue. But it was something Elena hadn't felt in years. Opportunity. By day, she still carried out her duties with humility. But by evening, she returned to polished wood floors and mirrored walls, teaching tango. Once more. Children, mothers, even retired couples came, not just to learn the steps, but to feel alive again through movement. Elena's pain had become her gift. Through her resilience, she inspired others. The millionaire who mocked her once tried to approach, perhaps out of guilt, perhaps shame, but Elena only bowed politely and walked past. For she had learned the most important truth. Her worth was never defined by those who laughed at her. It was defined by the fire she carried inside. And so the maid who had once been invisible became a symbol of her city. A reminder that no matter how the world mocks you, no matter how far life pushes you down, your light cannot stay hidden forever. Sometimes, it only takes one cruel challenge to awaken the greatness within. Outro call to action. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with friends, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Your support keeps these stories alive, helping us spread hope and kindness across the world. And before you go, tell us in the comments, do you believe hidden talents always find their way back to the light, no matter how deeply buried? Because sometimes a single moment of courage changes everything.